So now we've got Poor Infantry, which is 3 strength bronze card and goes on the melee row. So its ability is relatively the same, although it has seen a bit of a sideways nerf in some respect. So it used to be 2 strength, and when you place it on the board, it created 2 others. Okay, each of 2 strength. But now it's 3 strength and creates only 1 more when you place it down. So the strength that it puts onto the board is the same. It's still 6, but there's less bodies on the board, so there's less people to get buffed up. If you promote them, you're going to get less because it only gives +2 to 6 bodies in total rather than what it could do, which was 9, unless they've changed the Northern Realms deck ability in some way, but I doubt it. Obviously, you can still fold test them. You can put them into the graveyard and medic them out, and they'll reactivate their abilities. So the idea still works, but it is going to be slightly less effective to promote them than it used to be. So they're okay. The next we've got the Reaver Scout, which is a 3 strength bronze card on the range row. Choose a bronze unit on your side of the battlefield and play a copy of it from your deck. So generally speaking, I've talked about the way he really works well with fold test, being able to chain all your Reaver Scouts out and then end on something that's pretty decent like a field medic to get another field medic. But just taking Reaver Scouts in a deck thins down a deck and makes it more consistent. And the way it does that is that this is basically a wild card for any other bronze in your deck. Okay? So if you've got the Blue Stripes Commandos and the field medics in your deck, if you get 1 field medic and you get 1 Blue Stripes Commandos, obviously that's it. You could try redrawing one and getting one, but the odds are maybe you won't get one because redrawing is random. Whereas if you get a Blue Stripes Commando and a Reaver Scout, that Reaver Scout will be a Blue Stripes later. Okay, when you play the Blue Stripes and then you Reaver Scout it, the next one will come out of your deck. So it kind of means you don't have to redraw because this is a wild card, which can count as any bronze card in your deck that if you already have one in your hand. So, you know, thins your deck down, makes it more consistent, and generally quite good. Allows you to maybe play spies later on, so you're more likely to get the silvers and the golds because you're pulling the bronzes out first, which is interesting, decent. So we have Sabrina Glevissig, 3 strength silver card and goes on the range row. When destroyed, remove 4 strength from all non-gold units on your opponent's side of the battlefield. Okay, so destroying her, you're probably going to have to do it yourself, or you could stick her on a row with a lot of other units. Now we know wounding is going to be very common. The kind of wounding you're going to need is wounding which is going to do an entire row. Things like Lacerate, things like Field Marshal Dudar, possibly the Whale. These are the way that your opponent is going to deal with her, because they're not going to attack her in any other way, you know. So if you've got a very ranged orientated deck, then she's probably a good idea to stick in, because hopefully if they do attack all your range row, they'll hurt themselves a little bit extra as well. Obviously you can put something in to destroy her yourself, but that is kind of a 2-card combo. It does work because obviously you will lose her, so you'll just get the 4 strength on all of their non-gold units. So against monsters with a swarmy deck, that will be very, very useful. Probably will kill a lot of the Arrakis and Nekkers and stuff. So it could be worth trying to destroy her with, I don't know, you definitely don't want to use Radovid because he's 10 strength. That's kind of like where it's not worth it. And Alzor's Thunder, which does 6, also might be a bit too much. So we'll have to see if there's any cards which you can deal damage to yourself. Skellige have a lot of cards which kind of do that, but things like Stammelford's Tremors might get her down. It only does 2, but maybe you can get her down a little bit more. So that's what I mean. It's going to be hard to destroy it yourself. I haven't seen many Northern Realms only things which will do the job. So you want to make sure you build a ranged row that's really going to tempt them to lacerate it and stuff. And being at 3 strength, it might protect you from Epidemic as well. And if they do, then they take some damage. You know, the enemy could play around that, play Epidemic, kill her when they have no non-gold units on the board, possibly. But yeah. The next we've got the Trebuchet, which is a 3 strength bronze card for Northern Realms. Goes on the siege row. Its ability is to choose 2 non-gold units on the opponent's side of the battlefield and remove 2 strength from them. So it's unfortunate it's only the opponent's side. It means you can't deal with Sabrina by yourself while also adding strength to the board. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. It'd probably work really well with weathers and some other forms of wounding. There doesn't seem to be a big deal about wounding the opponent. We may see some other cards later, which really help. But for now, it's just sort of a decent card. It's worth 7 strength, basically, which is about average. So we've got the Blue Striped Scout, which is a 4 strength bronze card, and goes on the range row. So it could work well with Sabrina and a very range-orientated row. Choose a non-gold unit on your side of the battlefield and add 4 strength to it. So this card is worth 8, basically. You know, it's going to be good. There's not much to say about it apart from maybe it's pretty good with the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. It will bump them up to 8, and when they go to gold, automatically they will become 10, which is 10 is reasonable. You know, that's a nice amount of strength. It might force the opponent to deal with it. Obviously, they don't want to waste a Scorch on just one Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry, so you might get away with it. But obviously wasting something like Dandelion on it, they might consider, okay, that's a good trade. But you could use this guy and then Dandelion if you feel like he hasn't got a way to deal with it. And that'll be 20 strength golden card with the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. So, you know, decent amount of options there. It wouldn't be 20, it would be 18, I think. Because it would, yeah, it would. So next we've got Pavetta, which is 4 strength silver card on the siege row. Destroy the weakest non-gold units on the battlefield twice in a row. So 2 epidemics in a row for 1 silver card. That's pretty decent, isn't it? Obviously it's situational. You'd have to build your deck around having large numbers, so you can kind of guarantee that she's going to work when you're... I mean, because it's all well and good saying make sure the opponent has the weakest cards on the board 2 times in a row before they get to yours. However, you can't really decide that when you're building a deck, so you've got to try and build your deck to have high numbers, probably either a weather deck to push your opponent's numbers down or a buffing deck to push yours up, and then Pavetta would probably still be quite useful there. So we've got the Redanian Elite. This is a 4 strength bronze card on the siege row. Whenever 3 or more copies of this unit are present on a row, add 2 strength to them and convert them to gold. So I don't think this is 2 strength for each one, it just means they'll all go to 6, which to me is a bit rubbish. They don't muster, so it's going to be relatively difficult to get all of these on the row. Foltest won't do the job, unless you've got 2 in your hand. Reinforcement would do it, but I don't think it's really worth it, unless you're building a very gold heavy deck. I mean, they could work, but I think the effort is too much. Like the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry will go to 6 as well. But most people just leave them alone. And the good thing about the Dunbanner is that you have chance to buff them up, and you don't have to have all 3 on the board. You know, you don't have to get all 3 for them to get to gold. You can buff just 1 if you manage to do it, and it works. You know, it cap itself off at a really high strength. Whereas this, I think, just is a bit too much effort, or you have to spend something really good like reinforcement. We'll look at cards that deal with and get buffed by golden cards in some form, and come back to this maybe. But at the minute, I'm not really liking it too much. We'll have to see how many things get buffed by golden cards. So we've got the Reinforced Ballista. This is 4 strength bronze card, goes on the range row. Whenever a gold card is played on your side of the battlefield, remove 1 strength from a random non-gold unit on the opponent's side of the battlefield. So 4 strength is okay, a little bit low I think. How many gold cards are you going to play? Obviously, it's meant to be used in a promotion deck with Henselt. So, Henselt, I think, will probably get about 6 cards on a row. If you get a really good chance, you could promote this card, actually. But, you know, Poor Infantry and a promotion will get you 6 damage if you've got 1 of these on. If you've got 2 of these on, it will get you 12 damage. It would work really well in a weather deck, so you weather the opponent and then you start doing 1 damage to cards and that'll destroy them, that'll be enough. But I generally think it's a little low. I'd like to see more cards, but the 4 strength is a bit low, I think, in my opinion, but would work well in certain decks, possibly. You'd have to try it out. So we've got the Reinforced Trebuchet, which is also 4 strength bronze card on the siege row. It's got a 2-turn timer. Add 1 strength to all other copies of this unit, wherever they are. So that's pretty good. It means they're going to go up to about 7, and is a prime target for Foltest early on. You have to do it on the earlier ones, so it gets the buffs. But that means they'll all go up to about 8, mostly. Every 2 turns, remove 2 strength from a random unit on your opponent's side of the battlefield. And yeah, I like this because then they're going to get to reasonably high strength, 7 or 8 if you full test. You can use Reaver Scouts and stuff to bring more out of your deck if you don't have them. 2-turn timer is quite a while. It means that when you play it, your opponent gets a turn, you get a turn, they get a turn, you get a turn, and then it does the 2 damage. And it seems like it resets, so you're probably only going to get maybe 2 or 3 ticks in a round of this. But the more you have on the board, the more it gets amplified. So, you know, you could do 6 damage with this. If you have 3 on the board, you could do 8 every time the tick turns over. So, I like this card. This card I like. Still works well in a weather deck. Obviously, you don't need the 2 damage unless something's been buffed a little bit. But, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. It's good. Shani is still pretty much as good as ever. Choose a non-gold unit from your graveyard, play it and convert it to gold. So you basically get 2 golds there. But she's been reduced a little bit, only to 4 strength, which is fine. She was a pretty powerful card, so they've reduced her strength a little bit. But she's still a decent card. You can promote some really good stuff. We have Veth, a 4 strength silver card on the melee row. Whenever a gold card is placed on your side of the battlefield, play a Blue Stripes Commando unit from your deck. So I said this was a really good target for the operator way back when. If you're not fighting a Northern Realms opponent, then giving Vest to your opponent is useless. And yeah, she's going to be... It seems like you can easily get the Blue Stripes Commanders out of your deck if you manage to... If you put her in basically a promotion deck. So that's really, really good. It might be a target your opponent really wants to get rid of, because the Blue Stripes Commandos are quite powerful. 5 strength, they can get up to 9 easily. You could full test 1 to get them up to 11-ish. So she's pretty good. I think she's going to be very, very important to promotion decks. I like her. We've got a Ballista, which is 5 strength, bronze card, and goes on the siege row. So a lot of siege things popping up if you want to build a Ballista siege weaponry deck, which is, hopefully that might be a thing if you focus all on the siege row. Choose a non-gold unit on your opponent's side of the battlefield and remove 2 strength from it. So it's a very base card. 5, 6, 7, it's worth 7. You could reinforce it. You do only get the 6 strength though damage, which probably will kill about 1 thing. Again, I'm seeing this siege deck for Northern Realms to be a very weather type of deck. You know, you weather the opponent, and then you start doing damage to them and hopefully destroying their cards, which probably would run against quite an obstacle against monsters, I would say. So it's an okay card if you're building a siege row deck. So we've got Dijkstra, who's going to be very, very important for promotional style decks. Not important if you don't want to remove your gold status. 5 strength golden card and goes on the siege row. Now he is actually going to be 7 strength, and Shani that we saw was 4 earlier will be 6 because of the Northern Realms deck ability of adding +2 to any golden cards. His ability is to remove gold status from every unit on the battlefield and add 1 strength to this unit for each. That includes the enemies, so you can get around things like Zoltan, and you know, he's going to be so good in like a weather deck as well. Even if just to get rid of golden cards on your opponent's side of the board, and then the weather hits them, and then your siege units start to do pings of damage, and suddenly you've killed Eredin with a 1 ping of a Trebuchet, which is crazy. You know, you've killed Geralt, you've destroyed Geralt with a ping of a Trebuchet. But one thing to do with the Northern Realms deck ability, where you get +2 strength for all your gold cards, when he strips their gold status, it doesn't bring them down in strength. That buff is permanent unless they're removed to the graveyard. So you can promote them again and they'll get another +2 strength. So you don't have to worry about that as an issue. I don't know if he'll take gold status off himself. I'm thinking he probably would. So we've got another gold card, John Natalis, 5 strength golden card on the melee row, but he will be 7 because he's golden anyway. Choose 3 non-gold units on your side of the battlefield and add 3 strength to them. So I imagine they have to be 3 separate units. So this will work with any card really, any non-gold units. But the first ones that really spring to mind are the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry again, because at 4 strength or possibly 6 when they go to gold, the opponent generally seems to leave them alone. They're not worth a removal at that type of strength. Whereas if you buff them with 3 strength here, the opponent might feel inclined to actually do something about them, and that is decent, you know. You're forcing them to waste their removal on something which is not too good, but then again, if they leave it, then it becomes reasonable, you know. So I like the idea of buffing Dunbanner Heavy Cavalries with just bits and bobs like this to kind of make your opponent wince and not sure what to do about them. So yeah, he works quite well. He's worth 9 plus 5, so 14, but then, you know, another 2 for the gold status, so he's worth 16 strength, this guy, and he's got a lot of usability, so just a generally good card now. And my flash has crashed. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's just the adverts, I'm sure. So next card is Odrin, 5 strength silver card, has the agile ability as well. I really like this card. I've always liked this card. Move to a random row on your side of the battlefield at the start of your turn. Add 1 strength to all non-gold units on the row. So he's going to be really, really powerful. I imagine it's going to be something your opponent will want to remove in some way. So he might be a prime target for John Natalis, just to try and keep him alive, possibly. But obviously your opponent gets to deal with him as soon as he comes out. But yeah, he'll start buffing loads of people on different rows. So really quite decent if you've got a lot of cards on different rows. If you're focused on one row, it's probably not that useful, to be honest, though. You could give him Adrenaline Rush, which would give him Resilient for a turn, so he stays on for next turn as well, which is really nice. So I really like him. Some people won't use him. He is taking a silver slot. He's 5 strength himself, and it depends how you build your deck. It seems like you want a deck which is scattered around quite a bit for this guy to be most effective. We have the Reinforced Siege Tower, a 5 strength bronze card on the siege row. So they've got definitely a very siege archetype going on, and it seems to be revolving around weather as well. Whenever a gold card appears on your side of the battlefield, add 2 strength to this unit. That's good. This is very promotional style heavy, which is going to be amazing. So this could really go high a lot. You know, play some poor infantry, promote them. Suddenly, you know, it's going to go up so much strength. Now, I've got the feeling if you use Henselt, and you've got 3 of these on the row, and then you Henselt these, that they won't go up in strength because they'll get promoted first, and then they'll trigger their ability, which can't activate, I assume. But I'm not sure. But yeah, they seem really good. Definitely important in a promotion deck. These are the cards that I wanted to see. Reinforced Siege Towers, very, very good. So we have the Bloody Baron. So it is actually a Northern Realms only card now, not neutral. So it's a 6 strength golden card and goes on the siege row. Now it is actually going to be 8 because of the Northern Realms deck ability again. Choose to create and play a Botchling or a Lubricant. Now we know the Botchling is about 4 strength with Resilient and the ability to add +2 strength to itself at the end of each round. And we've got the Lubricant, which is, I can't remember the strength, it might be 2 or 4 or something like that, but it also has the medic ability as well. And I think it's a medic ability which allows you to choose bronze or silver, so it's a pretty good one. And he's 8 strength himself, so this is actually a good card in my opinion. We've got the Kaedweni Sergeant, which is 6 strength, bronze, and goes on the melee row. 6 strength is nice, I like it. Choose a gold card on either side of the battlefield and remove gold status from itself. So this is going to work really exceptionally well on a Northern Realms weathery deck, because any golden cards the opponent plays, Zoltan, Geralt, Eredin, you know, you can just remove the gold status from it. You get a nice 6 strength for yourself, which is, in my opinion, pretty decent. You know, it's only 2 strength below what a maximum is for a bronze. And yeah, removing gold status is a huge deal when you're dealing with things like Geralt, where you can just start wounding it for free now. So Radovid, again, is not too necessary if you've got these guys in your deck, dealing 10 strength to a golden card. We have Margarita, 6 strength silver card on the ranged row. Whenever a gold card is played on your side of the battlefield, create and play a Banard Adept. So we don't know what those cards are, but obviously she's meant to be played in a promotional heavy style deck using Henselt probably. She's 6 strength. I'd like to think Banard Adepts are probably 2 or 3 strength, and it'd be nice if they had an ability, but unlikely. But yeah, I think she could actually pay dividends quite easily, and we have to see what the Banard Adept is before we can truly say whether she's any good or not. Right, so we've got this card. I'm hesitant to say the name, but I'm going to just go in with Seal de Tansaville. And 6 strength silver card on the range row. Don't hate me for the pronunciation. So choose a non-gold unit on the opponent's side of the battlefield and remove 4 strength from it. So 4 strength is, I think, just about the range of annoying cards. There's quite a few annoying cards which might be 4 strength. So that could be quite important. I think we'd have to play some games and see just how important 4 strength cards which are annoying are. Things like Savage Bear, they're 5 strength, but they could go down to 4 strength when they're played and stuff. So she might be able to get rid of a couple of annoying things. But generally speaking, that means she's worth 10 strength, which is about average for a silver card. So we have Thaler, which is a 6 strength silver card on the siege row. Choose a card from your hand and replace it with 1 card randomly drawn from your deck. So that he's loyal, so it's not a spy. So basically this card is, I don't know, are there any cards which are not very useful? I guess if you're building a weather deck and you come up against monsters, possibly. But it sounds a bit too risky to me. You get 6 strength from him, which is okay. But it just sounds really risky. There doesn't seem to be many cards which I feel like are dead cards for you. Obviously, you could get like an Epidemic, which is a dead card if you've got the lowest strength. But I'm not sure about this one. It seems like too much of a risk. 1 card drawn randomly from your deck. Obviously, this is the kind of card that you want to play very late, because you've got things like Reinforcement to pull certain bronzes out. You've got the Reaver Scouts to pull certain bronzes out. So you want to thin your deck of bronzes so that the card that you are going to randomly draw is more likely to be a gold or silver or something useful. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one. We'll have to see. Mix it in, see how it do. So, passing comment on the Dunbanner Light Cavalry. It's a 7 strength bronze now. It used to be 6. So 7 in the Kill the Server stress test was quite important to protect quite a lot of things. And this will now fill that role. Now, the Redanian Knight, which used to be 7, is now 8. So this will protect the Dunbanner Light Cavalry. So those 2 cards, which don't have abilities, they do employ a very important role of protecting each other. And they combo nicely together because they protect and they protect everything else below. So Scorches are less relevant now. There's not as many, so it's not as big a deal. But yeah, they're okay. We haven't got any Alchemists, so these guys are not going to benefit too greatly. But it's always strong to see an 8 card being played. You can use Reinforcement on these things to get, 3 8s, which is quite a bit of strength. We have Vernon Roche, which is how Geralt actually pronounced it, so get off my back. 7 strength golden card, actually is a 9 strength because of the deck ability, and goes on the melee row. Choose any unit on your opponent's side of the battlefield and remove 5 strength from it. So you can do this from a gold card. There's not many 5 strength gold cards, but one that recently got a nerf down to 5 strength that is a prime target for Vernon Roche that you really want to remove is Zoltan here. He's 5 strength and resilient golden card. So you definitely want to get rid of him, and Vernon Roche is a card that you definitely want to use to do so. So yeah, he's reasonable. He's worth 14 strength with the deck ability. So yeah, he's reasonable. He's worth more than Geralt now, which is nice because he's faction specific. And 5 strength will kill a lot of annoying things, I think. A lot of bronzes which are annoying, and such like the Savage Bear, it'll kill outright. So yeah, decent. So our last card is Philippa Eilhart, which is an 11 strength golden card with the Agile ability. Now she's a disloyal card, so she's not going to get the Northern Realms deck ability to get 2 more strength, unless you play it into a Northern Realms player. You set the strength of all units on the row to 1, and this is without weather effects. So the main thing that comes to mind is the monster weather deck. So if they're placing loads of things which are immune to frost, you can place her on that row and they'll all go to 1. Doesn't matter. So she's going to be amazingly good with the siege row that we've seen, with the what's it called, the siege engines and all those types of things which do loads of small damage. She'll set them all to 1, and the only way to seem to get rid of it is to either pick it back up, Dimeritium bomb, stuff like that. But really, really powerful. Now Radovid would do 10 damage to her, so really, really would negate the 11 strength that you're giving them and just leave them on 1. You could also remove the gold status after you've played her and then remove her from the board in some way. So there's a lot of things you can do to combo and reduce the 11 strength you're giving them. But she's going to be a really powerful card because so far she's the only card in the game that I know of that can set the strength of units to 1 on a row without using weathers. So really powerful. So that is it for all the Northern Realms cards. I hope you enjoyed them. There seems to be a very siege row, maybe with weathers, maybe with Philippa here, that will obviously is all about removing strength from your opponent and pinging them down and trying to remove them and destroy them from the board. You've also got the promotion style heavy decks with Henselt, the leader card, you know, Dijkstra. You've got ways of removing gold status, which is really, really powerful for Northern Realms. And you'll obviously basically utilizing your deck ability to the most effectiveness you can in that particular thing. So they've got a couple of nice archetypes going on. Not as strong as the Skellige ones, but still pretty decent. And I think there's a couple of really interesting combos you could do with Northern Realms and some neutrals and you know, promotion and Commander's Horns. The fact that Northern Realms are able to get 2 is quite important. And yeah, so thanks for watching everyone. Take care, and I'll see you again shortly.